You're watching Adorama TV.
Hi everybody, welcome to Adorama TV. I'm Mark Wallace. Well, everywhere you turn, someone is taking a photo or recording a personal movie clip to share on either Facebook or Twitter or YouTube or maybe a personal blog. And we're in the middle of this social media revolution, and a lot of you are a part of this revolution and you're looking for the perfect camera. Well, this week Nikon announced the Nikon J1 system. Nikon J1 is a revolutionary new imaging system that's been engineered from the ground up. It's brand new. And Nikon J1, well, it consists of two brand new cameras. There's the V1 and the J1, as well as a brand new line of lenses and accessories. Now, the J1 has the features of a high-end camera with the portability of a point-and-shoot camera, and the V1 is a more advanced, functional-rich camera that works with additional pro-level accessories. And today, we're going to take a look at the Nikon J1. Now, I've had this camera for a little bit, and I really like it. And there are a few things that stood out to me. And the first is the design. I mean, this design is pretty incredible. I love the colors. There's like almost no hard edges on the entire thing, and it's extremely simple to use. The buttons are right where you need them to be, and there's really no extra anything on this. It just gets right to what you need to use, so you can pick it up and be using it right out of the box. Now, for you guys that are really style conscious, there are 5 colors to choose from with matching lenses. So there is white with white lenses, there's silver, black, an awesome pink camera, there's also red and of course white, as I mentioned before. Now, these cameras all have this very lightweight form that is easy to carry around, put it in a small bag, and it's designed so you can have it with you at all times. But it's not like a traditional point and shoot where you have to compromise on features. No, this camera actually has some advanced features, a lot of advanced features. In fact, things like shooting full RAW and JPEG at the same time, auto exposure lock, auto exposure compensation, things like custom picture control, active delighting, different metering and autofocus modes, multiple video recording modes, full HDMI output, just on and on I could go. A lot of the functionality out of this camera you would find on a full large DSLR camera, but it's been all crammed into this very, very small form factor, and I just love that. Well, the other thing that stood out to me was the ease of use. As I mentioned before, you can just grab this right out of the box and start shooting. You don't have to read a huge instruction manual. It's just easy to use. In fact, if you look on the back of this camera, right here, this is something, it's called the mode dial, and then right below that there is a multi-selector. And so between these two, you can really control most of what the camera does. There's also another control right here. And so really, Nikon has done a wonderful job of making this easy to turn on and then get it to exactly what you want to be doing and start shooting. Now let's go through really quickly what's on the mode dial here. It looks like there's not a lot because there's only 4 modes, but it's amazing what those 4 modes will do. Now the first mode here, this little green dial, what that is that's the still image mode, and that is exactly what you're thinking of. That is for those of you who are out shooting and really recording your life. So you're out shooting events or travel or just out with friends and family and recording all of the things that are happening around you. This allows you to take really high resolution images in low light and full light, and you can shoot in a mode that allows the camera to automatically select what it thinks is best. Either it will detect if you're shooting a portrait or a scenic photo, something like that. It allows you to use a flash that's built in, and so you can illuminate those dark corners of a room, or if you're really in low light. There's another mode that I really love, and that's called the Smart Photo Selector. And that's this mode right here. It's got this little camera. And what that allows you to do is, this is perfect for those times when you're shooting groups or something that is not especially easy to take, where you might have somebody that's either blinking or looking away, or something that might not be flattering. And so what happens with this is you actually push the shutter release halfway down, and the camera automatically starts buffering photos. And then when you take this shot, there are a number of shots that the camera takes automatically, and then it looks at those and it determines what 4 shots are best out of all the pictures that it took, and then it presents you with those 4 images, and then you can choose the best of those 4. So if you're taking, for example, a group shot and somebody maybe is blinking or looking away, well, you can just go to the shot right before that or right after that where everybody is looking at the camera, and you'll get a great shot. There's another mode here that is really terrific, and this is called the Motion Snapshots mode, and I love this. And the best way to describe what this does, because it is really cool, is it allows you to capture a moment And then it allows you to capture a video that's before and after that moment. For example, let's say you're shooting a wedding and you want to get the great shot of the bride and groom kissing for the very first time. So you get that shot and you have the bride and groom kissing. Well, this camera is actually going to record a short video, and so you see before, during, and after the kiss in this slow motion, and so it's this really wonderful thing. Or maybe it's the championship shot at the basketball tournament or something like that. So you actually get the shot and a video of the actual event happening. It's really awesome. Now, the other thing that this has that makes this camera so awesome is movie mode. And the thing I love about this, at the very top of this camera, there's a little clue at what makes this camera amazing. So this is the video button. So when you push this, the video starts recording, and next to it is the shutter release button. And these are two different buttons for a reason. And this camera allows you to take full HD video, 1080p, so you can record that video, and at the same time, while you're shooting video, you can take full resolution still images. And so you don't have to choose, do I want to take still images or do I want to choose to take video? You can do both at the same time. And the thing that Nikon has done so well is they've isolated all the noise of zooming in and out and pushing buttons, and so the noise is just canceled out, and so you don't hear any of that stuff happening. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned is something that is really spectacular, and that's the autofocus on this camera. The autofocus is extremely fast, and so you can just take this camera, point it at something, it's ready to shoot just like that. It is one of the fastest autofocusing systems in the history of photography. It is that fast. It's pretty crazy. And the other thing I love about these guys is the ability to change out lenses. So this has got a fully interchangeable lens system. So you can take this lens off and put a different lens on. So depending on what you're shooting, if you're shooting sports or scenic photography or portraits, you can choose a lens that's best for you. Now this is the 10 to 30 millimeter VR lens, and so this has vibration reduction in it, so it's going to account for any movement of the camera and reduce any jiggles that you have there. There's another lens you can get here. This is a 30 to 110 millimeter. So this is great for sports or portraits or shooting things far away like animals or at the zoo. And then there's also a 10 millimeter wide angle lens, and this is great for travel or scenic photography. And then there's another lens that we don't have here. This is the VR 10 to 100 millimeter lens. And so it starts at a really wide angle lens, and you can zoom way in to a telephoto lens to get things like animals or sports or portrait photography. So you've got all of these lenses to choose from, and it's an ever-growing system. Now the question that you have is, how do the images and video look? Well, I've been out shooting with this for a little bit, and I can tell you that the images and video are spectacular. Now, the J1 is a 10 megapixel camera, so that means you can make large prints of your images, and the video is full high definition, so it's going to look great on your computer screen or on your big screen TV, and we've looked at it in both, and it really looks spectacular. Well, that's the Nikon J1 system, and the Nikon J1 with a 10 to 30 millimeter lens, which is like this guy right here, it begins at $649.95, which is pretty spectacular and amazing that you get all of this for such a low price. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. Now remember, if you'd like to learn more about the Nikon J1, make sure you visit the Adorama Learning Center, because we've posted some of these sample photos that I personally took with this camera, as well as a few of the videos. Well, thanks again for joining me today, and I hope to see you again next week.
This episode is brought to you by Adorama TV. Visit the Adorama Learning Center, where you'll find photography tips and techniques, links to the gear used in this episode, and related videos. For all the latest photography, video, and computer gear, visit Adorama.com. And the next time you're in New York City, visit our store, located on 18th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue.